Welcome to Residing in North Idaho. We are a community and lifestyle podcast, sometimes with a real estate twist, but not today. We have a very cool guest here who I met downtown, and this kind of highlights the neat people you meet here in North Idaho. We have Fill Churkin from Phil's Lawn Care, and that is spelled Fills.
Correct.
That got me the first time. And he's not just about lawn care, people. So there's a lot of interesting stuff here we're going to unpack. So you got to stick around because you'll be surprised. We, of course, have the lovely and talented Eric Boardman with us today. Thank you for joining us.
Neither of those is true, but I appreciate
that. But that voice, bro. Goodness.
Yes, you can just block off this.
Yeah, goodness. It's amazing.
Cool.
So here we are. Thank you, Phil, for taking time out of your day and joining us. Let's start from the beginning, man. Like, how'd you get in the lawn care business? Where are you from? Break it down for me, brother.
All right. Well, I'm not from the United States. I was actually born in Russia.
I did not know this.
State of Krasnoyarsk in the city of Abakan.
Is that common spelling?
Yeah, sure. Let's just say.
I'm starting to get the FILL. Now that makes some sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I grew up in Russia, right? So coming to America when I was 5.
Okay.
The reason I came to America was I had to have open heart surgery. And the survival rate for my operation was much higher in America than it was in Russia. So my dad chose to come to America in order for me to have this heart surgery, open heart surgery. So I had it in Sacred Heart, over there in Spokane, and things went well. After 12, I didn't have to do my annual checkups, and so I'm clear for that.
Dude, that's what a huge step that your dad was. I mean, you imagine that, uprooting the entire family. I imagine they brought everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny story, though. I almost got lost in a JFK airport.
When you were 5?
When I was 5.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll tell you a little bit about that. So I'm standing there. We're waiting to board our plane, right? We came to America. We had to take JFK in order to get into Spokane International Airport. And I'm looking at, I'm mesmerized by planes. I've never seen them in my entire life, right? And so I'm just looking out the window. I was by my sister, and then I knew my family was nearby, but I was just so mesmerized. I was looking around, and then I looked to my right a minute later and no one's there. And I'm gone.
Terrifying.
Everyone's gone. And so of course I start crying, I start bawling. I'm walking around. I don't know where to go. It's kind of, think about Home Alone when Kevin got lost in the airport.
Oh, yeah.
When I seen that movie, I'm like, that was me, man.
I feel you, kid. I feel you. Yeah.
Someone was watching me. Someone got that story from me.
Yeah.
But no, I got lost, and then my dad finally found me. I guess I was standing next to a fountain somewhere. I don't know where, but he found me. He chased me down. And the thing was, they were so trying to get on a plane that was already running late, and they run into the terminal. That lady starts counting all the heads. She's like 6, right? And my dad's like, no, 7, because he knew he kind of barely speak English at that point too. He's like, no, but he knew. He's like, there's 7 of us. And she's like counting. She's like, no, 6. And he's looking around. He's like, who's missing? And then he noticed the youngest one, Phil, was missing.
The one we're here for is missing.
Yeah. And he ran back, and he was telling me all this with emotion back then. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh, it happens. Big family. You almost can't keep track of everybody.
Right.
So he ran back through the gate, got me, found me crying, bawling, like helpless basically, and grabbed me, threw me on the shoulder, ran back. And the lady was like, no, we can't put you, ran through. He didn't care about anything. We're going. He jumped on the plane and they took off, and the rest of it is history.
That's one of those times where it's really good not to speak English. Oh, I don't understand.
Yeah.
We're going anyway.
Run through. And so that's how we came to America. And after that, I went to K through 12 public school. We attended a Baptist church down there on 2nd and Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Pilgrim Slavic Baptist church, of course. Russian.
I went to Lewis and Clark. Not far from there at all.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I went to Ferris High School and grew up there, played sports, kind of 10th, 11th grade, started to figure out what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
And my father, he was a construction worker for almost all his life. And then he switched over he was a truck driver first. Then he was a construction worker for, 10 years or something. And then he's started trucking again. So I didn't want to follow my father's footsteps because I just figured, construction, my brother started to doing that. Then trucking, I went with him a few times on a trip, and I'm like, it's not my thing. I can't sit behind a wheel for 4 or 5 days, because he does long haul.
Right.
He goes all the way to the East Coast.
That seems like a grind, man.
Yeah.
That would be
And
rough.
so I'm like, no way, man. I don't want to do this for a living. So I try to figure out, like, man, do I want to continue college, or do I want to get into a trade? And so for me, I'm like, let me try painting cars, not houses, painting cars. So I'm like, well, in my high school, they offered, I forgot the name of the trade school. It was in Hilliard, but it was an area where you could, go to class or get your credits by going to like this trade school kind of way. And the program that they had was auto body collision refinishing. And so I did that for 2 years and got my credits. And then when I went to SEC, I went for the same thing, auto body collision refinishing, finished that for 2 years, worked at a body shop for 1 month, and figured out quickly that that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Damn.
So for 4 years, I basically wasted 4 years of my life.
Yeah.
Well, actually high school, I finished high school, got my GED, but that 2 years for sure was a waste of my life. Cause I'm like, I could have done something, else productive that could have, I don't know, started a business, not worked at a body shop for a month, figured out that I hate it.
Well, maybe that was the lesson that you needed to learn from it.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the value.
Yep. Maybe.
I still see the benefit of that. I mean, trade schools aren't as long. How many college kids are doing that now? They're going to a 4-year university, going into crazy debt, and then getting out and saying, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
Or at least there you were learning a trade and you had something to fall back on.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I'm like, well, I was working a job. I was working at Ace Hardware on South Hill, and I learned a lot of valuable skills and just by communicating with people. I was a sales associate, so I got to communicate with a bunch of people. They come in, good and bad. Right. So I learned how to kind of, de-escalate situations in a bit.
Handle conflict.
Yeah. And mainly that was, I'll get my manager. So I didn't have to kind of deal with a lot of the crazies, but we had a few instances where people would, steal stuff out of the store, walk out with a chainsaw, and I couldn't really do anything. My GM told me, you can't do anything. Like, you can't chase them down. You can't hurt them or anything like that. And so we had to let a lot of those go. But anyways, we won't get into the crazy stories of Ace Hardware, but I can go on for days with those. But
but that's a cool job for a young kid. I look at that all the time. Find that unique job where you're going to get some of those experiences. Yeah. There's a lot more out there than just working in fast food or working at a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
There's some cool ones like that because those skills follow you into other other paths.
My first job was not an Ace Hardware, but it was a family-run hardware store in town. I lived in a small town in upstate New York, and man, I learned so much from that. I just like the smell of an old hardware store. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Well, I remember the smell of my first job, and it wasn't a hardware store. I worked in a pawn shop. I was
that's another smell.
Now that you know that about me, you're probably like, oh, I can see that.
See it all now.
Hey, a pawnbroker, like 16-year-old kid, you learn a lot about negotiations and talking to people. And
I imagine some of those smells are similar to the smells you smell at your current job.
Yeah, absolutely. The back of my patrol car.
That smell of lingering methamphetamine.
Right. No knock on anybody who goes to pawn shops. I just imagine there is some consistency with the clientele.
Yeah.
Where did you get this item? I found it.
It's
all 5 car stereos. These are all yours. Oh, that totally makes sense.
They show up with their Crown Royal bag. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And I open that up. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, it's a good time.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So how old were you at this point now?
I was so my first job I got I was 16.
Okay.
So and all my brothers worked at the Ace Hardware, the same Ace Hardware. So it was like a generational thing.
Yeah.
So my younger brother broke it. He never went and worked at the
He broke the family tradition.
We told him, like, you got to work at least a month.
Yeah.
At least a month. Go work there. But he broke it. But that's all right. I learned a lot of valuable skills, and got to talking with a lot of people and make connections. That was the most important thing for me.
Yes.
Networking.
All these lawn care guys were coming in and telling me, like, I'd complain to them because I was working a 9-to-5 job that I hated. The reason I hated it is because of the pay. I was getting minimum wage.
Yeah.
And we weren't getting like $1, $2, $3 raises. We were getting 50-cent raises every single year. And the problem with that is Washington was raising their minimum wage like by $1. Right. So our raise didn't stack up onto that dollar rate, dollar minimum wage increase. So we were essentially just making minimum wage every single year,
right?
No matter how you looked at it, no matter what raises we got, we were making minimum wage. So I quickly hated it. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was racking up credit cards because I had no other money. And I, at that time, working a 9-to-5 job, you only had 2 extra days of, free days. And you'd want to spend that time, I was married, spend that time with the wife, but I knew for a fact, like I couldn't survive off of this. So I'm like, I need to do something. I need to like have an additional source of income and make some money somehow, because this isn't going to work. And so I made connections. I was telling guys that were coming in, made some friendships. And I was telling these guys, I'm like, how are you guys making it in lawn care? And they're telling me how they started up and how it wasn't easy, but they're like, man, being a business owner is the best thing we've ever done. It's the best decision ever. And so I took a swing at it. I'm like, well, I got a mower, I got a trimmer, I got all this equipment. I'm going to go ahead and start mowing lawns. And so those 2 days I started to mow lawns, get customers here and there. And the way I got customers was I advertised essentially my services on Craigslist. It was free back then. Now it costs $5 per post, but I was getting the tips and tricks from all these guys that were like, in order to be successful at Craigslist posting, you got to post like 5 posts a day and hover over it for you to be on top. So that way, when people type in lawn care service,
it depends on what services you're advertising on.
They were like, lawn care service, be on top. So that way, when someone types that in, you're the first one, they'll click on you and have really good prices. I was underbidding myself. Like, I think I was charging like $20-$25 per cut, which is unheard of nowadays. Yeah. But, I had to start somewhere. And so I gained like 3 or 4 customers, and I was happy because I was now making like, I don't know, $200 extra, $300 extra a month, which is pretty good for me back then. And I'm like, I saw a vision. I'm like, I saw the future of this. This could expand into something where I could step out of this job and turn this into a full-time thing. This was back in August of 2018, the summer of it. And at the end of the summer, I decided to form an LLC with Washington State and with the Secretary of State and all that. And I got help with actually forming my business, Phil's Lawn Care. That's how it began.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
So August of 2018, I was getting customers. Hold on. My wife. Can we pause this?
We can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine.
Do your thing, man.
She worries a lot.
She's like, wait, I don't know these guys. You're going into the basement for a podcast. Do you have both your kids?
Are you alive?
Yes. Are you?
Yeah. I get those texts. I actually get those texts sometimes when I'm showing a house in a remote area. My wife, I had one recently. My wife's like, I think they're going to try to kill you. And I was like, 1, bring it. Yeah. 2, no, it'll be fine. So yeah, I had to give it the text like code 4.
Okay.
Right. You're like, babe, I've been daydreaming about this moment for a really long time. Go ahead. I've been training.
All right. No, I told her, I'm like, I'm on a podcast. So
that's cool. I'm not even going to pause that, to be honest with you. We just kept talking. It's fine.
Yes.
We've had Dave, our other partner. He'll get up and go pee sometimes. And it's like, well,
he's doing deals. He's on his phone all the time.
Yeah. So don't even feel bad. I like to just keep it real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so anyways, it was the end of summer. I formed an LLC. I got my business off the ground. I had a truck back then. I put decals on my truck. Yeah. I made shirts, like really cheap ones. So I felt like I was kind of, getting the boat closer to the dock, and I felt good about it, but I knew winter was coming, and I knew there wasn't any lawns to mow. Right? We live in a 4-season state. There is no lawn mowing after October.
Yep. And
then there is the lawn mowing starts back up in April. So I'm like, I got to have my job for the wintertime. They're like, there's no way I'm going to survive. If I leave my job right now, there's no way I'm going to survive in the wintertime. I'm going to get another job after.
Yeah.
So I didn't quit. But I took that time to advertise and just like go heavy on, marketing and advertising my services online. And so I collected enough contacts throughout the wintertime in order for them to kind of lock them in for spring. And I knew there were going to be customers. And so we established a few contracts, a lot of word of mouth agreements like, hey, yeah, you're going to be our lawn guy, So I had a lot of hope in and things like being like being an official business owner and being able to quit my job. So when springtime came, I was going heavy on advertisement and, gaining customers. And I got to a point where I figured, I started to run the numbers, and I'm like, I'm making more at my job, or more mowing lawns than at my job. And I told myself, this is the moment I got to quit. This is the moment I got to quit, because
dude.
Yeah.
I was answering my, and I know, like, I feel bad for this, but I was answering my phone. I was texting during work. I was like running my business during work, which is highly frowned upon. Like, I do not do that, please, at your jobs. Right. But
You're like, I was directly to me.
Yeah.
I was a young kid, I was like open-minded, and I just wanted to be successful. I wanted to be just like the people I met, the guys that were coming in, being lawn care business owners, telling me all the good things.
What did that give for you at that point? What did that success, what did that look like to you? Why
was it successful?
What would success give you that you were looking at those guys and being
financial stability?
Yeah.
For me, it was financial stability. I knew, like, when I got to the point where I was making more money in my lawn care business than I was in my job, I felt financially stable. I felt like I was actually saving money, not living paycheck to paycheck, and saving money at the end of the day in order to have fun with it, and spend it, or save a little bit, but have some fun money in order to go out and have some steaks with the wife or something. And
work-life balance.
Exactly. Yeah. I wasn't like a slave. Right. And so that was kind of success for me at that point. And I'm like, you know what? This is the moment I need to quit. Like, if I don't quit right now, which was scary, I was so scared. Like, I was shaking going up the stairs to my GM, telling him that I'm putting in my 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was doubting. Like, I can't even describe it. Like, if you've never been in that situation, it's like, you got to experience it in order to know what it feels like.
It's scary. It's exciting.
It's
you're mixed with so much emotion that you don't know if it's the right decision or not.
It's the plight of the entrepreneur, right? It's like, you have this, and I came from this too. You have this secure job that, like, you do your thing, you just while away your time, put in your 30 years and you'll get your retirement or whatever. But it's like, it's kind of soul sucking. Or you can go in this unknown that's terrifying, but you have endless potential, and you can, work as hard as you want or not as hard as you want, and you're the master of your own destiny. I think so many people are like facing that decision all the time. I'm winking at you.
I know. But there is that prospect of failure, right? Like, that's part of the nerves. You're like, this job's stable. I know I'm going to get paid if I come here.
Right.
But I know my ceiling is this. Yes. Like, every job like that has this artificial ceiling. You're not going to break through that because you're working for somebody else. But entrepreneur, bro, and I know you're going to get more into this in a minute. But man, it's cool. Like, you blow through ceilings.
Yeah. I think what was hooking me on was the fact that job security that I thought I had, which I don't think, unless you're like self-employed and stuff, job security to me now is much different than what I thought back then. Right now, whoever you're working for, right, depending on the relationship, but if you're just like working at a fast food shop or a hardware store, you're just a number, right? So you should never depend on your job. It's not security.
It's not just those places.
No,
right?
But right. I came from law enforcement. I worked for a large department, and once I retired, I realized 100%. Like, I was replaced in a moment.
Yep. And same thing with me. At least I was full time. I was part of. I was the head of the small engine shop. Right. I was managing it. I was running the show, essentially that part of it. So I knew, like, well, they're not going to replace me easily, right? Because no one is wanting to manage a small engine shop or the department for minimum wage. Like, if it was $20 an hour, they could probably find someone, right? And I'd be scared because I'm like, well, they're going to find someone with like 20 years experience and replace me because I had no experience, right? And so I kind of felt good about it. I'm like, well, it's job security. I'm going to get my paycheck. I'm going to pay the bills and stuff like that. So that's why it was scary going up those stairs, but I did it. And I told him in a shaking voice, like, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. Right. And he knew. He's like, yeah, I could see it in you. I could see it in you. I knew that. And he saw the decals on my truck. He's like, I eventually knew you were going to quit.
Right.
So he didn't bribe me, which I'm thankful for, with with a pay increase or anything like that. You know how like some managers will be like, well, you know, why are you leaving? You know, we'll give you we'll bump you up to 20 an hour, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Like he didn't do any of that. He let me go in peace.
Yeah.
So I was super thankful for that. And I thanked him. And, you know, after that, man, it was like chains came off of my shoulders. It was just that undescribable feeling, you know, when
that first day when you probably walked out or you didn't have to go in that day and you're like, wow, like I can do whatever I want today. Like,
I got an open schedule
Yes.
of scheduling out jobs anytime I want, you know, and that's when I felt free. I felt free. And one of the happiest moments of my life, you know, like being your own boss in a way, and managing your business and figuring out, you know, where to put clients and on what days to work and stuff like that. It was a blast, you know. That was the start of my business. That's when I felt free and I felt financially stable.
So this was 2018, 2019 now?
2019.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but
spring of 2019.
Yeah, every decision you make, though, is directly contributing to your relative success or failure in your own business, which is wild.
Yeah.
You probably get up earlier than you did before, but you're investing in yourself. You're not investing in somebody else's dream.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's way easier to work harder. You know, like I was a good cop. I did my job and I actually was passionate about it, but I work way harder now.
Right.
And it's way more satisfying. You know what I mean? Like, cause I can see the reward. The reward is both my schedule, my time with my family, and the income reward. It's like, I would never want to go back.
Yeah. Yeah. That was 2019. 2021. That's when I started to dabble into content. You know, that's when I got the camera out, started to film myself work. Cause I saw other guys, they were starting to not only talk about how to start a lawn care business, but they were showing videos of themselves doing the work, doing the makeovers. You know, they'd show up to a tall, overgrown property and they'd go knock on the door, find out the situation and tell them, you know, I shoot lawn care content. I post these videos on YouTube and I allow, you know, I have YouTube pay me instead of you. So it's going to be free for you, you know, and these people that we come up to, they don't have the budget to, you know, spend $200, $300 or pay someone $300-$400 to give them a lawn makeover. They don't have that money. So if we can come up to them and tell them it's going to be free with no catches, like we'll show them proof. Like we get our income through social media. We just use your property essentially and help you out, of course, to grab that or get that income. So that way we can offer it to you for free and everybody else that we go and help.
Have you ever had anybody turn you down?
Oh, all the time.
Really?
I was going to say,
no.
They're skeptical.
Yeah.
They're like, oh,
100% skeptical. They believe there's something.
and I'll
in it.
show them like, we have 100,000 people watching you, like not you, but like watching me do the service. And I tell them like, you know, if you want me to, I can blur out you and your address and all your license plates and everything and keep it secure. So no one knows where this house is other than locals that might be watching. And I think that's what makes them like, no, I don't want to be on film. I don't want to be on camera.
Yeah.
It's funny. Be like, wait, it took a lot of no work for your property to get this overgrown. And I want you to capitalize on your no work by me fixing it for you and getting paid on social media. 100%.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, you know, for a fact that it's going to go all summer long unmowed
Oh, yeah.
or untouched.
Yeah.
And then the city's going to come out and fine them potentially,
Right.
like
Yeah.
give them a warning, and then they're going to fine them. And then they're going to charge a whopping like $150 an hour or something crazy.
Something
I don't know what
nuts.
the rates are, but it's
Right.
it's a high price.
They'll be calling you later. Can you do it now?
Yeah, then they'll be calling me, which I haven't had that happen yet.
Yeah.
Right. But
Okay.
you know,
So
I don't feel bad when they say no.
is
Right.
all of your business now basically done for free for people?
Yeah, for free. Yeah. So I'll come up to the property, I'll knock on the door, I'll explain exactly what I do. Like, hey, I'm a content creator. Now that I'm doing it full time, I don't have a lawn care business. So it's just a media business. So I tell them like, you know, I used to mow lawns for a living, but now I show myself mowing lawns.
For
I
a
record
living.
myself
Yeah.
mowing lawns for a living, and I film myself work, and I get social media to pay me, whichever platform I post it on. And some people are like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah, go ahead, go right at it.
Yeah.
And those are the best. Those are like, sweet. So I can set up my camera right now, do the recording, and then go ahead at home. But the people that are skeptical, they're like, what's social media?
Oh,
You know, I
right.
get like those grandmas.
Yeah,
that,
of course.
Like, what's social media?
That's
And
what
I'm
ran
like,
through my mind. You can run into some of them and be like, no, get out of my
like,
yard.
I don't even have a computer. I'm like, okay, well, there's a thing called the internet.
Please don't open them up into that wormhole.
No,
I can only imagine the websites they
they'll
end
ruin
up
their
on.
lives.
Yeah, exactly.
So how many a week, like what's your workload now?
So now with it being wintertime, I'm sitting at the computer editing videos all day. I have an SSD hard drive that has probably 10 videos left in it for the wintertime. And that should float me through springtime. Once springtime hits, actually once the snow melts, I'll be out restoring some sidewalks. I've noticed throughout the city, there's some terrible sidewalks. So I want to go restore those. And but other than that, I'm really thinking of like traveling down to a sunny state and working.
Yeah.
If I do run out of content, and if the spring doesn't come early this year.
Oh yeah, why not?
So,
right.
I'm like on a time crunch right now, but I got enough content to, I think, float me through April. If not, then yeah, I'll be having to go down there. But
yeah, Arizona or Florida, it doesn't sound that bad, man. Especially
Right.
given the last 2 weeks we've had here in North Idaho.
Yeah.
Dude.
I told my wife, I'm like, we're gonna buy a house in Florida
There you go.
sometime.
I'm
You know,
gonna be
so we
perfect
can
here
Dude,
from Florida.
keep it going
Yeah.
year round.
go over there and shoot content for about a month and come back here.
So
there you
just
go.
to simplify it for anyone out there that is still not catching on, Phil goes around and he videos himself cleaning up yards, posts it on YouTube and social media, and he is paid for that content because he has so many viewers. How many subscribers do you have on YouTube?
So I have 3 channels. The first channel is my main channel, Phil's Lawn Care. I think I have over 272,000.
That's a lot.
The second channel is my behind the scenes. It has 250,000. And then the third channel, which is like a shorts channel, which is short form content. Some people don't want to watch a 30-minute makeover. They want to see a 5-minute version of it.
Right.
So you got to take that video, speed it up. So that's short form content. That has over 50,000. So combined, right over, what would that be? I'm bad at math. 550. Yeah,
ish.
somewhere around there.
Okay. And for you out there that's thinking that sounds crazy, why would anyone watch that? I have walked into my father-in-law's house and looked at the TV and he's watching someone mow a lawn in sped up motion. And I was like, that's weird. And then, I watch it for about 5 seconds. I'm like, this is oddly soothing and satisfying to watch. So I get it. It happens. My kids, when we met, thanks Dave Miller at Life Public House for that introduction, by the way. Dave told me that he was meeting you and I was like, oh, I got to talk to this guy. That's interesting. And I told my kids, my son's like, oh yeah, I watch those videos all the time. I'm like, okay.
I gotta wonder what part of the brain it taps into that makes that so satisfying to watch. It's like when people use pressure washers on really dirty sidewalks.
Yes.
I can walk by and be like, that's dumb. Why would it?
My God.
This is so satisfying. I can't figure out why.
Well, because you have to, you notice that it's dirty. You have to watch all the way until it's clean in order to fulfill, like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's a
100%.
question. Is your demographics, are you mostly men?
Both.
Okay.
I think actually, when we talk about age demographics, it's an older generation,
Okay.
but it fluctuates depending on what social media platform you're on. So like YouTube, older, like 50 and up. Facebook, 50 and up. TikTok, we're talking young generation, like
Interesting.
like 30 and under. I feel like that's where it is.
Because I was wondering if that's like a male trait to watch. I don't mean to be sexist. Don't attack me. To watch but maybe it's not the actual lawn mowing. Maybe it's just the finishing of a product.
Right.
Or, like maybe it's that it's triggering. I don't know. So maybe it's not strictly men.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like that niche,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're cutting grass or pressure washing. For the longest time, I was watching people cleaning boots and shoes.
Right.
I don't know what it was, but like I'm laying like in my bed, there's nothing to do. You watch someone like clean shoes, but I think it's like that ASMR like aspect of it, where you're just listening to the sounds and it's doing something to your mind that's relaxing.
Yeah, it is.
And you're just like, whoa, that's cool. And it's pleasing to the eyes, and you wait for that final moment where he takes the rat or whatever they use and he cleans off the wax off the shoe and it just shines.
Yeah.
You're like, yes, I got it. I received it. I received what I came here for,
Do you think about that when you're doing your content? So you have this awesome, like almost a reveal at the end, right? Where it's like, this is what it looked like. boom. And
Yep.
then transition.
Yeah, I do before and after pictures at the end.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And those are like, and I try my best after I'm done with the jobs, because you have to take pictures before you do the work and then after you do the work. So the angle has to be correct. Like you got to sit there and be like, where did I stand here? And you look at the photo and you're like, all right, the car cuts here and then the window cuts here. So it has to be perfectly in frame. And then you take that picture. But when you go and do the editing at the end of it all, you're doing the before and after pictures, and you're doing what's called a fade out transition.
Yeah.
It'll fade and it'll show like perfectly like it was overgrown, and then it'll fade into the after picture and it will be cut and it'll be perfect. So like there's no like different angles that you're taking. It's the same angle.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but when I found out that technique, I was like, people are going to love this. And they did. And they're like, we love your before and after pictures because they're just so perfectly angled. And
that's what I really want to know.
Like,
so that's in their brain, and you're like, I'm gonna ring that bell. You can't wait, whatever that is, I'm gonna ring it.
Yep. You take advantage of that. Yep. And so cool. You're trying to like figure out everything. That's why it's so important to build a loyal audience, because now they're going to give you the tips and tricks that you need to understand to incorporate in your videos.
You were just talking about that same thing.
Yeah, because people will be like, hey, can you show us how to, can you pressure wash the walkways after you're done? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Let me do my lawn makeover and then pressure wash. That will, one, extend the video, which will actually run more ads through those videos and make me more money.
Yep.
So that's a benefit. Plus, people want it. They want it. They're asking for it. So I go and do it. And that, explodes. Like my video goes more viral.
You capture the pressure washing weirdos like me, dude. There you go. Different demographic.
So when you started, what was like from when you started to blowing up to where you are now? Was it really quick? Or is there a grind here?
So I think I see it more of a grind. My interest in content creation goes way back when I was little, when I was probably 11. My very first videos that I started to create were trampoline trick videos. I would go grab my mom's camera that she used to take family pictures, and it had a video button on there. So I click the video button, go set it up on a tripod, and I go on the trampoline and do backflips, right? And I'd go, once I'm done with my tricks, I'd come back to the camera, stop record, throw the micro SD in there, and upload them onto YouTube. YouTube back then was probably 3 or 4 years, and so it was fairly fresh. Like people were not getting millions of views back then. Like a viral video was anything over like 50 to 100,000 views. That was considered a viral video back then. Now, I mean, your video has to get like 10 million views in order to be considered viral.
Right.
It's just unbelievable. But
do you have something like that? What's your highest?
10 million.
There you go.
That's a lot of eyeballs, dude.
I got to go on. But I don't have those videos anymore. I was doing like scooter tricks when I was young and stuff. And then I started to get into small engine repair. And I was shooting videos on how to record or how to fix chainsaws, lawnmowers that wouldn't start. And that I grew that side of things. But then I switched it over to lawn care. And there's like a long time frame in this whole thing. But I switched over to lawn care and found that there were more eyeballs on lawn care content than small engine repair, because small engine repair niche is a lot of how-to.
Yes.
Like people aren't every day searching up, how do I fix my Echo chainsaw, right? They're not going to watch that every single day. So I figured that lawn care content was more on the entertaining side. And the reason being is because, well, someone in their apartment, they can sit down and type in lawn care content and my video will pop up and they'll watch it and be satisfied. Well, that wasn't the case with small engine repair. So there was educational content that I was creating. And then I tried entertaining content, which was lawn care. And that shot off like a rocket. That my first video outperformed every other video that I made.
You were like, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah. That's what the people want. And so I doubled down on that and went and mowed a crazy overgrown property. And that video alone exploded and got me more views than I've ever gotten on all of my small engine repair videos combined. So I got like 250,000 views in a month.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah. And wild. I was monetized during that time. And of course, my paycheck went up because we get paid once a month through YouTube, and my income went up, and I'm like, dang, like I can make money off social media.
Yeah.
And I was making probably like, I don't know, back then when the video exploded, I made like a quarter of net income as what I was making in my lawn care business. So now
for the month or the year?
For the month.
Okay.
Yeah, for the month. So that, when I was talking back about working a 9-to-5 job and going making lawn care, I said I was making double. It took me back. Like seeing this number, it took me back. And I started to think like, how big can I go on social media? How can I maybe one day be a full-time content creator and take this to the next level? And so it took me back to, when I was working my 9-to-5 job and quit. Now I'm thinking like, man, I can go full-time into social media and quit my lawn care business.
You're walking up the stairs in your own head.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like,
going, man, am I going to
I saw the potential, right? I saw the potential. So now, of course, being a full-time content creator now, but take a step back a year ago, I started to make more money on social media than I was in my lawn care business. And that's why this year I said, you know what? I'm going to shut down my lawn care business and do media full-time.
This is
so awesome. I got two big questions for the one that's driving me crazy. So do you have a lot of people reach out to you and message you and say, hey man, my parents' place, it is jacked. Can you please come do this?
I wish more people would, but
really?
I don't get a lot, surprisingly.
Really?
Well, because a lot of those reach outs are all across the United States. Like someone will be like, hey, I live in Tennessee. I'm not going to drive all the way to Tennessee to mow your overgrown lawn. I'd rather, if someone called me from Tri-Cities, I'd go.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have like a certain radius now that, I'm doing this full time. I need those properties in order to, have enough content. I'm expanding my radius, but I was thinking of going state to state and making it public, making it known so people could email me and being like, hey, if you're coming to Tennessee, I got a lawn for you. Right. Or, hey, you're coming to Texas, I got a lawn for you. I got multiple.
Dude, that could be a good, like a road trip.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Make a road trip out of it and hit all these states.
Right.
And so that way you're working every single day on properties that you didn't even have to go and look for because your audience gave you these properties.
And there's a story behind it. It's almost like when people refurbish cars and they do it for like really, really inexpensive, or they do it for free. Say, here's the story. Here's why they can't do it themselves.
Yeah.
They're non-ambulatory. You get a story behind it, which is cool.
Yeah.
Which I think people like as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I really like the local ones though, so I don't have to drive that far.
Fair. That's
you can go down the street, mow the property, come back home, sit, relax. Yeah. But sometimes it does be. I think August time is when everything's dead and dry, and all of like the city has already came by and mowed all those like abandoned, overgrown properties, and which I wanted to get you guys' take on that, abandoned properties. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But everything has already been done. So now you got to scout out farther. You got to go farther. I got to go drive down to Spokane, which I hate. I don't know why, but I hate driving. Like I told you, I hate long trips. Like going with my dad to the East Coast, I hated it. So it's
because you almost got left in the Washington D.C. airport.
That's all. Like, it all comes back to that. Yeah,
I took things personally.
Yeah,
I just driving. Cause sometimes you're scouting for like 4 hours trying to find a property, going from block to block to block to block, and you can't find anything. So like you get burned out real quick.
Well, and there we go, local folks. If you have a property in your neighborhood that really needs it and you've been looking forward to it, hit Fill up.
Yeah, come summertime, you got my number. Yeah.
Well, cool. I was thinking about this the other day because obviously in the real estate business, we come across people all the time. And it's like, man, if that word were out, and I will be looking now.
Appreciate it.
Particularly, I mean, I imagine like, we have ties to the veteran community, the law enforcement community, fire community.
Yeah.
If you can find like that older veteran that just can't do it or anything, I mean, that would be a cool service for you. And it would be, I think, excellent content as well.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I talked to Dave about that.
Yeah.
He said, because he was doing something new now with that cooler.
Yeah.
And the coffee.
The Patriot pour. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he told me, he's like, if I come across somebody, are you willing to help them out? I'm like, definitely.
Dave will be a good contact for that. Dave, it's Dave Miller at Life. He knows everybody, man. If you ever walk down the street with that dude, oh my goodness. It's like, wow, he's like a local celebrity.
Everybody knows who he is.
Everybody. Yeah. Well, he's a good human being. So,
That's just such a cool story, man. I'm big on like youth development, right? Like yours, you can just see how that happened totally organically. You didn't get into this saying, I want to be a content creator and I'm going to be a YouTube star. You'd be amazed at how many kids now, when they talk about their profession or what they want to be, it's what you're doing, but they don't do they didn't start out like you did in a job that taught you and you learned how to interact with people. You learned how to converse. And then you found this transition to, hey, I can make money working for myself, but none of it involved not working hard. All of it was working hard.
Yeah.
Then you're going, wait a minute, I'm going to analyze the market and what I'm providing in this service. And then you recognize the opportunity and capitalize on it. That part's cool to me. So he didn't just make it lucking into this. Right. It happened because he busted his butt and continued to analyze what works.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
With work life, that's
100%.
badass. That to me is big time.
So you're also sponsored too, right?
I got many sponsors. Sponsored by Element.
Oh, no way.
Salt. Yep.
Oh, good old Rob Wolf, man.
I was actually creating the ad for him today. So I was recording on my mic and I wrote a script out, and now I just have to shoot the content. But make like a minute and a half ad, throw it in one of my videos, and I get paid.
That's why. So, when he showed up today, I was like, do you want some coffee? He's like, no, I'm drinking electrolytes. And the way you said it, I was like, wow, all right. Yeah, I need some electrolytes, right? Dude. And
let me sell you some Elements.
I see the bottle. I'm like, okay, no, Elements, good stuff, dude.
No, but well, I wanted to ask you guys a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, send it.
So you were a former law enforcement,
police
officer. You're a current law enforcement
police
officer. How does that work with? Let's just say I'm living in a neighborhood, right? Mm-hmm. And 2 doors down, there's an abandoned property that's overgrown. And me, as a good neighbor, I just want the neighborhood to look good. You know,
right?
I don't want to undervalue or devalue our neighborhood, so I go over there and mow it. I just clean it up. And I don't feel myself work. I am technically trespassing, right? That is against the law. Or am I just doing a good deed or service for the community and mowing it down? And
if that were to happen here, number one, somebody would have to complain. There has to be a victim, right? So if it's a truly abandoned property and it's just owned by the city, number one, there are other stipulations involved with trespassing. It has to be clearly posted. You can read that. It's 8,000. Anyways, it doesn't matter, but you can go in and see if it's clearly posted and all those things. In this instance, who's going to complain about that?
Right.
Right. Yeah. Like, this isn't one of the cool things about living here is we're not in this significant police state, right? It's still very much community involved. I would look at that as a neighbor and say, right on, dude, you want a cold beer? Like, I got
right.
You know what I mean? I got you when you're done.
Yeah.
So
you'd show appreciation for it.
Exactly. Where it would get a little convoluted is if it's still owned by somebody and they don't want you to do that, or you end up taking out a shrub or a tree that's important to them that has some monetary value or something funky, or you hit a sprinkler head, right? Because
bust a water line or something.
Lawyers, right? Somebody would try to say it's your fault or whatever that is.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But man, here, no. Neighbors look at it and say, cool, because it's an eyesore and it lowers our property values and some other things.
Yeah.
Right. So
here we go. You do it at night and use night vision. And I think that would be a cool video too.
Yes. There's some content.
Right.
That's what's up.
I've actually thought about that one time. Like, I got lights on my mower.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would look good on
so
video, cool. I think. Yeah.
You look all knotted out, dude. You've got,
right?
Got quads on, quad tubes.
Just thinking about it.
I like it. Use that for SWAT training. I think it'd be important.
I'll have to contact some of you guys, some of your departments, and see if I can borrow some equipment.
You know a guy now. He might be able to hook you up. So what's next for you? What's the future look like here? You got a plan? I mean, you're an entrepreneur, obviously, and you're going to keep growing. So
so full-time lawn care content creator. I got to figure out. Definitely, I got to have a schedule in place. Monday through Friday, or actually Monday through Thursday, I'll be out there mowing lawns, doing these lawn makeovers and scouting out properties, putting people on schedule. And then Friday is my editing day. Cause in the spring, summer, fall, it's definitely like one video a week. Like, you have to put one video a week out. That's just my schedule. Mm-hmm. And so you have to edit the video, prep it, work with agencies to do the brand partnerships and all that, incorporate everything, get it all ready for Sunday. That's my posting day. Sunday, 9 a.m. So you'll see a new video on my Phil's Lawn Care channel every Sunday, 9 a.m. That's the goal.
Is that on all 3 channels, or how do you do that?
That's just on the Phil's Lawn Care first channel. Yeah. My second channel, the behind the scenes, it's kind of like swinging, whenever I get to a video, I'll do it. Right now it's wintertime. I'm showing how I do snow removal. I don't want to post that. So I keep content separated. So like
Gotcha.
snow removal content, it's behind the scenes. You know, it's not what I'm known for.
Right.
So, and to me, like that second channel is like, however it performs, I'm fine with. I'm not trying to hit any goals on that second channel. It's just behind the scenes. If you want to see how I repair equipment, how I do snow removal, how to maybe start a lawn care business or media business, I'll talk about that. And that's what I'll post on that second channel. So, but that main channel, that's my driver. Like that's where I make majority of my income. And so I have to focus on that and make sure everything's laid, set in stone, and scheduled out in order to just continue what I'm doing.
Cool. You have like a bloopers reel where you get stung by bees or just jack yourself up while you're out there doing laundry?
I include those in the videos. Those are always
Nice.
fun. Yeah.
Nice.
I've actually gotten attacked by bees before. I was mowing a lawn one time and it was super dry. And I don't know what I hit. I probably hit a hive or like a can where there was a hive in there.
Right.
And I mean, I didn't notice it. I heard it, but then like it flies across, some side discharging. And I notice all these bees start flying around and they're like near the exit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got to get out of here. Like I got to do something about this. I'm trying to finish up here. So I finished up all my passes and I'm like, I'm done. I'm not even going to blow off anything, you know, because these bees are everywhere. So, but I had to dodge a few of them, you know, like on the mower. Cause I'm using a stand on mower. So I'm like, you know, ducking and just trying to fly out through out of the gate. So
you were almost Kevin in Home Alone, then you were almost Kevin in My Girl.
Oh,
Stung to
wow.
death by bees.
Good job.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Are you like a one-man show for this? Do you have a team? What do you do?
So other than the brand agency that helps me find brand partnerships, I do everything. So I wear all the hats.
Editing, the whole deal.
Editing, voiceovers, filming even. I throw my my phone right here. That's what I use on a tripod. That's how I film. So sometimes like my wife will help me with sponsorship ads.
Right.
But lawn care, she doesn't come out with me. Unless I need water.
Yeah.
Then I'll call her. You know, and she'll help me out there. But she's actually wanted to go on and with me a few times. I'm like, you're going to work for like 20 minutes and then you're going to get bored.
Right.
Because it takes a special someone to find interest in doing it. And if it doesn't bring them any benefit, like to me, the way I get it, you know, I get the benefit of getting content out of it and doing the before and after. And I see like the progress.
Yeah.
For someone that's helping, they don't really see it because they're not doing everything.
You still like to do that part of it? I mean, obviously this is your job, right?
Yeah.
In the content, but you enjoy that part of it too.
I do. Yeah. Sometimes it gets stale. And sometimes I feel a little burnt out because I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. Like, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a
different result.
result. Yeah. And so that's kind of like you get to a point where you're like, man, I'm kind of bored with this. And that's where maybe the second channel kind of saves the day. Like, all right, do something else then.
Right.
Right. Or switch up your approach. So instead of trimming or edging first, whatever I decide to do that day, how about you mow first? Or, you know, just do something out of the ordinary in order to kind of spice things up a bit, what they say, in order for yourself to not feel like you're just doing the same thing over and over again and it's repetitive. And then also you can listen to your audience and just see what they want to see. Like put a post out there in the community tab and just say, well, what else would you guys want to watch? You know, what else are you interested in? Pressure washing, house cleaning, carpet cleaning? I don't know.
After this, they might say, I want to see you do some scooter tricks. And then they'll be cleaning up that.
Scooter tricks and backflips.
Yes.
That's a good idea. We recently did that for our YouTube channel because we do a lot of neighborhood videos and we do a lot of driving shots, and we'll just literally hold the camera out the side of the car. And we're like, man, do people want this or not? So we put a poll out on the community tab, and it was a 60% wanted more driving shots. So we're like, okay, the people have spoken. But you know what? It just it's a good way for them to see what a lot of our people come from out of state. So they want to see, what does it actually look like there? And a static picture does not do that justice. So like, we'll just drive around. Sometimes I'll hold it out the sunroof pointing forward. Sometimes it's side shots just to get houses and neighborhoods. And
one, they'd see it how they would see it.
Right.
That footage shows how they would see it. As opposed, I mean, drones are cool and everybody gets caught up with tech, but
yeah,
you're not going to see it from 400 feet off the ground. That's cool.
The biggest problem us creators run into is the way we present the video. And what I mean by that is some people want to only hear the sound of the machines, but then others want to hear like an ambient music in the background. So you can't please them all. Like if you add ambient music, people are like, man, turn that garbage off. I want to hear the mowers.
Yeah.
But then some other people are like, man, all I hear is like the buzzing sound and like the, moving sound of the machine. Like, we don't want to hear that. Can you throw some music in there? So you can never please everybody. So that's why I created the shorts channel. And also I'm doing like, that's where I'm doing like the, what's that word when brain fart, big brain fart, experimenting. There we go. I'm experimenting with like music and like, just like zooming in, zooming out, just different things and just seeing what might attract, other people. Like, what kind of other interests do they have? And so that's why I created the shorts channel. I'm adding music to it. I'm adding music to the videos. I'm speeding it up, slowing it down, showing raw footage, taking a 40-minute video, like I said, and then turning it into 4 minutes, just like a super fast makeover. Yeah. But some people enjoy that. They don't have 40 minutes to spend because sometimes they might be on their lunch break or something. They only need like 5 or 10 minutes.
That's that younger generation. They want that quick fix. Man.
Yes, instant gratification.
I want that instant gratification.
Well, and that's the thing, and that's why TikTok is so popular. It's because what happens on TikTok? You go on there and you're watching a video. If you don't find interest in it within like the first 5 seconds, you're swiping. You're swiping to the next one. So that's the thing with TikTok content's much different than YouTube and Facebook content. Which Facebook and YouTube has shorts, Facebook has reels, but TikTok, their videos are mainly attracting a younger generation.
Right.
And with a younger generation comes a younger attention span. So you have to like engage them instantly, hit them with satisfaction right away. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
So that way they're hooked. And so that way they'll watch the whole video. And it's a little bit different now. I'm on a different program on TikTok where you have to create content that's over a minute in order to get paid. So anything under a minute, I don't get paid for. So now it's even harder for me to earn money because I need to have them engaged and watching all the way through over a minute in order to get paid.
Ooh, that's tricky.
Yeah, it is. And it works a little bit different. I might be like saying it in just a very simplified version, but there's a few like different things that things you have to hit in order to get, paid or not paid, whatever.
Gotcha.
But it's like making a minute and over content on TikTok's hard, because of that attention span.
Right.
So it's a whole nother market. It's a whole nother way of
you got us
editing.
on there because we had that conversation at the coffee shop and you were like TikTok. And I was like, I hadn't thought of that. So we've been now putting content on there. It does okay. You know what I mean? I think like for our world, it's not always as like eye catching. It's kind of hard to get that instant engagement, but we're exploring with it. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you get coached by anybody to learn this, or are you just seeking it out on your own?
So I had one phone call with one guy that I spent $1,000 to talk to for 1 hour. It was a coaching call with a brand partnership coach.
Okay.
And he taught me, he gave me a lot of good, marketing material. And he also gave me a calculator, which could calculate the amount I should be charging these brands and companies that reach out to me. So that was very important.
So is that based on views and things like that?
Yeah. There's a whole like formula that he created that changes all the time because there's a thing called CPM, which is cost per mil, which is how much a company is willing to pay per 1,000 views, which could be like $15, $20 per 1,000 views.
Okay.
But, he based off of that, creates that formula. So you just throw in your numbers, you take your 10 most recent videos, divide that number, find what that average is, and plug that into the formula, and it'll spit you out a dollar number of how much you should charge. That's or like cool. A minute ad or a minute and a half or a blog post, or it could be like a Spotify. Like, how many listens do you get? Well, I get on average, 1,000 listens.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, this is how much you should charge for a script read, like 30-second ad.
That's awesome.
So that alone, I think, was one of the best things that he gave me. But he gave me a lot of good advice, and he recorded the whole phone call. And we went over an hour, but this guy was like, he knew how to talk to brands. Like if a brand reached out cold to you, he knew exactly what he quickly tells you, like, you need to figure out their objectives. Like, why did they reach out to you in the first place? Like, what are they trying to achieve? Are they trying to just, there's 3 like different campaigns. Man, I knew I should have like listened to it before, so I could act like I know what I'm talking about.
That's all right.
No, but there's like a marketing objective. Let's just say click-throughs, like people want, or brand awareness. People just want to get the name out, right? If you're a startup company, you reach out to a content creator and you're like, hey, my name is Phil, owner of, let's just say, Phil's Mowers. I want you to, put my mowers out there for people to see. And I think you're a really good fit for my brand. And so, Seth, you'll create an ad for them, and get a bunch of people to click on a link or something like that. And so that essentially you're hitting that marketing objective of his, and he's going to want to partner up with you again because he knew the first one was successful. How about the second one? Let's do it again.
Yeah.
But you can't just do it for free, right? Now you have to, earn some money from that, right? And even if he gives you a free mower, right, that doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
So you have to get some kind of compensation for the ads that you create. So I wouldn't get technical into this, and talk about that, but that's just essentially what I needed to learn. And so that's why I reached out to him and paid the money. But that's the only person that I got coaching from.
Yeah.
But other than that, the only people on my team is that brand agency.
That's wild though. So the brand coach, $1,000 for the hour, and in your perspective, well worth that investment.
Well worth it. Yeah. For the longest time, like I think 2 or 3 years. Yeah, 2 years. I said no. Like all my buddies were like, "Dude, you got to get on a call with this guy." I'm like, I ain't spending $1,000. Like actually, back then it was like $300 for 30 minutes, and now it's $1,000 minimum for an hour. I'm like, I'm never spending that much money to talk to a guy when I know kind of how to do it myself. Yeah. But then I quickly figured out I don't know how to do it myself, you know. And when brands were reaching out, I'm like, yeah, give me free product and I'll shout you out,
of course,
for free,
right?
And like,
then you got the calculation. You're like, oh my gosh.
I got the calculation. I'm like, I just missed out on $10,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. Like you learn those things by taking those risks. And when people tell you, like, you got to get on a call, you probably need to get on a call and get on it because it's going to only benefit you in the long run.
It's hard, when you're in the, like, your original mindset. Like, I think back to when I was in law enforcement, like, I didn't make a ton. I mean, I made pretty good money, but not crazy money. To think if someone had told me, say I had a side hustle and someone was like, you need to drop $1,000 to I'd be like, hell no. Like,
right.
I don't see the value in that until you do it, or until you get into that world, and then you start doing, like advertising money. The money we spend on advertising, we're putting an ad in the Spokane airport, our real estate team. That shit's expensive.
Yeah.
But now we have the mindset of like, okay, we know it will benefit us.
Right. It'll
benefit our team. It's worth it to us. But like you look at those numbers originally, like, what? No way.
Yeah. You think you're throwing away $1,000.
Oh yeah. But
gone.
when you look at that, probably made you so much more money based on that value add that it was way worth it to you.
Yeah.
You made it in your next deal. Next deal.
Literally.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
payoff. Yeah, definitely. And he even tells you, like, you'll thank me for this.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
I said thank you. We landed a deal with Toro.
Right.
And we got equipment and we got compensated. And so after that,
I got to be honest, you coming on here, I did not anticipate this being as educational as it has been. This is like blown through so much stigma I had on content creation. One, because you watch that, or the dumb stuff my teenager watches. It's like dudes kicking each other in the junk, or they're just screwing with people out in town or whatever it is to try to generate likes. I love where this came from, because you're literally going to help somebody, right? And then you're getting paid for it on the back end. Good on you. I have no problem with you making money doing that. Some of the other idiots, not so much. Just bringing on other people in the community. It's so cool, but the science behind all of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of garbage content online.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can get your head wrapped, even if it's one of your interests, like let's just say you're interested in cars. You can spend 2 hours on Instagram scrolling through the feed looking at cars, right? And car videos. And then that's 2 hours of your life wasted that you didn't even invest that time.
Right.
Because you could watch content and consider it an investment if you're grabbing ideas from these videos.
Yes.
But if you're just like filling your mind with blanks, you're wasting your life away.
Yeah.
So whenever I get my phone, and I'm not perfect at this, but I try my best to. When I get on my phone, how can I invest my time when I unlock my phone? And what is the reason to get on my phone, right? Because if we don't have a reason, then and there's no value in getting on the phone and unlocking it, you're just wasting your time. You're wasting your life away, right? Yes. God gave us a limited amount of time on this earth, right? Why waste it? Why waste it on our electronics?
Yes. I catch myself still frequently. I'll like have a lull, or sometimes even I've noticed like I'll be stressed out about something, and then I'm just like, my body like naturally wants some little fix, and I'll open it up and I'm like, man, what is happening right now?
Oh, mine ratted me out and said, you average 3 hours of screen time in a day. And I was like, whoa, that's a lot.
And you unlocked your phone 100 times and we don't even notice.
Yeah.
Because we're so used to it.
And I don't have the time for any of that. Like truly, like you try to be deliberate about your actions. And that makes a lot of sense too. Be deliberate about your actions on your phone. Have a reason for why you're getting on it.
Yeah.
Right. And so you don't just get caught up in all that.
Yep. And I sometimes spend, so 3 hours is nothing. I probably spend like, I don't know, 8 hours a day on a screen combined with my tablet and computer. But, and to me, that's like, if I tell somebody, they're like, what's wrong with you? You know, you're probably like on social media and like wasting your time. I'm like,
totally different.
That 8 hours is not all productive, but majority of it is productive 8 hour work, right? Work day. Yeah. And I'm trying my best to only bring value to myself and investing that time to be learning or to be editing a video and then uploading it and scheduling it out, because I know it's going to bring me a source of income.
Yeah.
So man, you got it dialed in, dude.
That's cool.
How have you ever gone back to the hardware store, and do they treat you like a celebrity now? Or are you still just Phil? But
you know, I'll be honest, I've thought about I don't know why, but I've thought about wanting to get like hired back there just to kind of feel that feeling I had back then. Because when you that was my first job.
Right.
And they treated me like family for the most part.
Yeah.
And I got to like, I obtained all these relationships with all the employees, and like, they became my friends, like, and almost close to like my family. Right. And that's what really made me not want to quit. And that's also one more thing that was holding me back, because I knew that once I did quit, I'm not going to see him ever again. Like, I'm not going to see him every day.
Right.
You know, you don't have those people to talk to you now. And so that's, another thing that was hard to let go of, but that's why I had those thoughts. I'm like, man, it would be so cool to like, just go back there and work like 1 day a week.
Yeah.
just to see how it is.
Right.
Yeah. Like, but I would probably never get hired back then, or back there. But
that's from a far more altruistic place than we were thinking. It was like, hey, Ace, do you want to sponsor your, you want to come back? I'll give you an ad.
I actually had someone from corporate Ace Hardware reach out to me and give me $100 gift card.
Oh,
because they saw that I was using an Ace Hardware shovel.
Oh,
so they're like, we see that you're using an Ace Hardware shovel. How about you go buying a new one? Because this one's like 3 years old or something. Yeah. Like, it looks like you need a new one. So they sent me $100.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But everything you said about them, I mean, minus the pay for brand new employees, right? Yeah. It was a good experience.
Good experience.
Decent place to work. Anybody that's watching and listening to this or listening to you, you learned a lot.
That's a good start job.
Yeah.
Like, first job, I'd recommend you go to Ace Hardware, work as a sales associate. You get to talk to people.
Right.
Like, you don't have to sit there and flip burgers, right? All day, every day. Yeah. Like, you actually do something new every single day. You might be stocking new items, figuring out where things are. Right. There's a lot of things you can learn, and there's a lot of connections you can make working as a sales associate.
And interpersonal skills, right? Which I think a lot of times that's hard for kids to develop.
That's lacking.
Now.
That's a big one.
It's all in text or all on social media. So that's big time.
Do you still remember where everything is located in the hardware store?
Yes. We played a game one time. We were so bored. We had a night shift. Oh, and actually not. We had the closing shift. So we close at 9 p.m., which is super late. Like, who goes through the hardware store?
Pretty late, man.
Other than that one lady that would come in at 8:55 and want 3 gallons of paint, and I'd have to mix it for her, and she would like cause us to go home at like 9:20. It would irritate me, man. And we'd have to like counter tills and close everything up. She'd like, I need paint. Like, and you're like,
not answering. I'm not answering.
Yeah. Someone knocking?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, because they know, man. Ace, I'm always impressed. I go to the Ace here in Coeur d'Alene, but you walk in that door and it's like, I love it, because they're like, what do you need? And I'm like,
right.
What can I help you
I'm
find?
gonna get you this time. I'll get you this time. Nope,
Yep.
never. They always know. And I'm like, dang, man, they're good.
Oh, the Ace hardware we had on South Hill was one of the biggest Aces around our area. And so we'd have a lot of aisles. We had like 36 aisles.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So there was a lot
That's
of
big.
product. And you had to know, like, I'll tell you one story. My first week on the job, they got me in the cut room, right? Like assembling wheelbarrows, because they ain't going to throw me on the floor. No way. I don't know anything, right? I'm a newbie. The second week, they started to allow me to restock the shelves. Well, with restocking, you got a vest on, you got a name, you obviously worked there, you got a radio. And as soon as like the person that was training me left, I was like, oh man, I'm on my own, right? And someone would come up to me and I'd be scared. And I'd be like, because I didn't have any, like, I didn't really have the social skills, right, that you obtain over time. So they would talk to me and they're like, do you know where the fertilizer is? I'm like, oh, yes. Like the easy one.
Dude.
I know that one.
Right here. I'm actually restocking. It's right here.
Yeah.
But then they'd be like, one dude came in, and again, I'm new to products, right? I'm like, I didn't know what this was. He asked me, where's the liquid nails? I'm like, liquid nails?
You're so dumb. They're not liquid.
I feel like you're messing with me right now. Yes.
So I take him to the nail section.
No.
I take him to the nail section, and he looks at me. He's like, do you know what liquid nails is? I'm like, no.
No, I don't.
He's like, it's a sealant in a tube. I'm like, oh, okay, let's go to the paint section. So we went to the paint where the caulking is, and it was a much needed learning like day for me. But anyways, I had those instances where I'd learn. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about product. I learned a lot about product placement and just how to kind of talk to people and recommend the right products, because not everything that is sold at the hardware stores is what you need.
Right.
There's so many different products that are good for so many other things, and so you learn a lot. But definitely, like, they didn't throw me on the floor day one, thinking that I'd know it all. But eventually, I would know where every single thing is. Like, I could stand up front, greet people, and be like, yep, it's on 34. Yep, it's on 32. Left side, halfway down, middle shelf. I would like get precise because you just, you'd be sweeping the floors or something at the end of the day, and you'd just be looking at products. Yeah. Like every single day you're there. You're
getting cocky about it. Yeah. You're like, oh, throw me something a little more difficult. I need a 3/8 cover pin.
That's where the fun came. Like, last hour was our closing hour. So from 8 to 9, we'd play games. Like, as sales associates, we train not train each other, but we'd play a game like find this item. Yeah. And so I found an item where it was in the fastener section, but it made it seem like it was in the tool section. I'd be like, find me a friction wrench. Yeah. And so they'd instantly go to the tool section and they'd have the most, like, they would never find it. Right. And so I got one guy, he was a veteran, and I told him, find a friction wrench, and he couldn't find it. And I felt good. I'm like,
yes. You won the day.
And then he, for the longest time, like, he would tell me, like, where's those friction wrenches? He never showed me where those friction wrenches. And I showed him in the fastener section. There's like in a little cubby, little small friction wrenches that you'd use for, like, when you're assembling like chairs and stuff, like those Chinese bolts. Yeah. They'd have like friction wrenches that you could use. But we played games, we'd had a lot of fun. Yeah. And so that's what I missed. That aspect of Ace Hardware I really missed.
And I hope that's not lost now, right? Like with the new generation, brand new jobs like that age. Are people doing that and screwing with each other, or is it this?
It's phones. It's phone in the back on the phone, Right. And I noticed that because I worked there for 4 or 5 years. And so over time, my first couple of years, it was all fun. Yeah. And over time, you'd notice like people would like quit, like the fun guys would quit. They would move on with their lives. And so the younger generation started to come in. They were just on their phones. Right. And so what happened to me? I started to be on my phone too. Yeah. Right. And so that's kind of the transition that happened the last couple of years. And then it got boring. Yeah. And the job got boring.
It sounds like you might just be missing the camaraderie of that. Right.
Yeah.
And we just went through this. Like, I was on my own real estate with just me and my wife for a while. And then we just teamed up with Eric and Dave. And that's what we were missing, is that, office you go into, you talk shit with the guys, like everybody's having a good time. Like, man, there's something to that.
You draw inappropriate stuff on their desk.
Yes. He's speaking from experience. But those are like that interaction, that community is super important. And maybe you don't get a a lot of that doing what you do right now.
I think it's missing in today's age.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, even like, how do you get, like, I was talking to one guy who's like, I got lawn care employees and they're constantly quitting.
Mm.
How do you make these guys come and mow the same exact lawns every single day for the whole year or for 6 months? You can't. You physically can't. There's no entertainment at all in just coming to a job and doing the same thing over and over again, right?
Right.
Like the definition of insanity, right? These guys would go insane. They'd quit because it'd get boring. So, and that's the thing that's when I was working at Ace Hardware, we had to find ways to have fun, to switch things up.
Oh yeah.
And,
Yep.
I know that well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you don't see that now,
Right.
and the younger generation, they want quick cash, which, they want fast success,
Instant gratification,
but they don't want to put in the work.
I see that in my son every day. We have like, he very much wants to be an entrepreneur, and he's always coming up with ideas, and it's always skipping the work. It's jumping right to the end. And this is the conversation we have constantly, and he just hasn't seen it yet. And it's like it's a common conversation in our household of like, hey man, cool idea, but you got to start here and put the work in. There's instant success is super rare. Like don't bank on it.
Hard work is still there for all. That's why you're such a good example for content creation. I'm going to use it with mine and say, no, man, it all started with that natural willingness to work hard, do tough jobs all the way through, but then seeing an opportunity and capitalizing on it. Yeah. That's okay. Yep. That's totally different. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, we are over an hour now. So,
nice.
Well, I got to go show some houses soon.
Didn't even feel like an hour.
It never does.
I feel like we're just starting.
No.
You like put the headphones on and get in the bubble, and it's like you're in each other's heads, and I love it.
Yeah, truly. Because I could ask so many other questions. Like the way you guys came into the country is so neat. Your perspective on what it's like here, how your family likes being here. It's so wild. Like you did that for open heart surgery, and then the success.
Yeah, that is very cool. Well, you know what? Cool. I know where to find you. We'll have you back. Dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be awesome.
So Phil's Lawn Care, FILLS. Find him on YouTube.
Yep.
Subscribe. I already did.
Ring that bell in your brain. I'm telling you. I was watching just before this. I was like, why is this so satisfying?
Extremely satisfying.
I know. Yeah. But if you have a good yard in your neighborhood that's here local, let us know.
Shoot us a comment.
Yeah. Overgrown yard, abandoned properties, hit me up.
Absolutely.
I'll be there.
Beautiful. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it. That was a fun conversation. We'll put all your contact info in the description.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's do it again sometime.
Definitely.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Later.